Yo, what is good, YouTube? It is your boy Osasi, OJ, a couple people call me a couple different things, coming back to you with actually my first video that I'm going to publish here. I just wanted to talk about a lot about the NBA playoffs this year. They have been very fun to watch, actually, from my end, and definitely one of the more memorable ones. I tried recording a video where I went through each individual series in that same video, and that video wound up being almost an hour long. So and I actually didn't get everything I wanted to say in that video that I wanted to, so I'm just gonna go ahead and break down each individual video by series. We're gonna try to one take this, and we're gonna go ahead and do it by the completion of game 4s. So both of the teams have played both of their home games, and we'll just kind of have a discussion, analyze, see where they are in the series, what kind of team has a favorability, what kind of problems I've been seeing, and maybe what can they do in future games to kind of fix those problems. So first series coming up though is going to be the Pacers versus Cavs series. So yeah, this kind of surprised me. I don't think anybody would have thought that the Cavs would be down 3-1 coming out of a game 4. I think everybody probably picked the Cavs to win this series relatively easy, but of course, injuries. The basketball gods were not with us this year, at least for the Cavs. I mean, Mitchell is still having a legacy-like series. I think coming into game 4, he was averaging something crazy like 42 points. And I think the only off game he's had is probably that game 4, which, I mean, you can tell he's just exhausted, and like everything on the offense is kind of still coming down to him. And especially with the half-court offense, it kind of seems like, unfortunately, since Darius Garland and Evan Mobley Garland has been dealing with this injury, this toe injury, for a little bit now. It's kind of been nagging, even with the last series they had. However, he's still, and you can tell that he's taking that step back, especially from regular season, especially when it comes to the importance that he's going to have in this half-court offense. Just because it seems like Donovan Mitchell, if it's not him isoing or setting up a pick and roll or high pick and roll for him, it's just hard for them to get any type of spacing or any type of offense going in the half court. Donovan Mitchell is pretty much the only one that's getting to the paint consistently, and not every play, of course, but on a consistent basis. I mean, as we see, he's having a great series on free throw attempts and, making them pretty well. But also just averaging 40 points for the first 3 games is absurd. And, I mean, the whole Cavs team is just kind of relying on him still to kind of provide that. I'm thinking of game 2 right now, where Mitchell was pretty much the only starter on the court, at least the only, key role player starter, him and Jared Allen. And I believe Strus was in that game, because Strus has a shout out Max Strus, just a quick side off, because he has been probably the most consistent player on the Cavs outside of Donovan Mitchell here this series, which is another surprise. I think he's had like 2 or 3 20+ point games. So he's been kind of providing the offense whenever he needs to. He hasn't really been the one to, or the role player to, disappoint here. But back to on topic, I mean, it just seems like Garland, that toe injury is definitely inhibiting his ability to create any type of offense, especially the offense that he wanted to this year. He can't really get his shot going because he can't create any space off the dribble now. You could tell the inhibitance is definitely with his toe, because his movement is just slightly off. It's like he's a step slower than what it seemed like he was in the regular season. And unfortunately, they're probably going to need Garland to come back and be that consistent scorer that he was, regardless of this injury, if they're going to even have a chance to take this to 7. Either that or Evan Mobley is going to have to take over as a secondary playmaker when it comes to that half-court offense. And he's been inconsistent with it. He has also been dealing with the injury himself. I believe it was a knee injury, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but you could definitely tell that, I mean, game 1, dominant. But ever since then, even the game 3 where he came back and had some pretty decent numbers, it just wasn't. You could tell there's just another step back, which is just unfortunate for the Cavs, right? Because, I mean, it's really just kind of giving me deja vu of the 2024 Cavs last year. In the playoff series, especially because I mean, if we look back at to those two playoff series that they had last year, the Cavs played both the Magic in the first round, which went to 7, and the Celtics, which went to 5. And I believe Mitchell got hurt the last 2 of those games, so he didn't play game 4 or 5 last year. But they kind of running into the exact same problem where Mitchell, every game they won last year and every playoff game they won last year, Mitchell was by far the leading scorer, not even close. Like Darius Garland and Evan Mobley kind of weren't close, and you wanted them to kind of take that jump this year, and it looked like they did throughout the regular season. However, I mean, is this injury kind of inhibiting that ability that we saw in regular season, or is this just kind of how Garland and Mobley are going to play in the playoffs? Because if that's the case, then yeah, the Pacers pretty much got this in the bag. I mean, from all the momentum that they had from even stealing game 1, it's crazy. And then to come back in game 2 and Tyrese Halliburton hit that game winner 3-point to kind of spoil Donovan Mitchell's 48-point performance. And I mean, the Pacers are just kind of outmatching them in almost everything. Another thing here for the Cavs, I mean, it just kind of looks like Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, although they are not the worst rim protectors, of course. I mean, Mobley, I believe, has like 2 to 3 blocks almost every game, and Jarrett Allen has a couple. But they're long, but not really heavy though. There's not really a lot of strength at the rim to deter the Pacers from kind of scoring or driving in the paint whenever they want to. Yeah, I mean, they're both still a pretty decent front court option defensively, but I mean, Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam, well, mainly Miles Turner this series, he's been a little bit more consistent than Pascal, but Miles Turner has been able to kind of spread them out, and whenever he wants to, he can definitely take advantage of the Cavs front court in the paint here. And I mean, we just kind of see, especially game 4, I mean, there was just kind of almost no resistance there. And I mean, granted, you can kind of give that a little bit again to Evan Mobley's injury here, but they got no bricks in their pockets. It just kind of reminds me of like a run defense or a defense on the NFL that might be pretty good at pass rushing, but they may not necessarily have a really good rush defense because of the personnel, really. I mean, if you don't have big people up front that are going to be able to stop them or be able to deter this offense, then, or try to inhibit their inside play in any way, then it's going to be a problem. It's kind of like a Chet Holmgren situation with the Thunder that they're finding out right now against the Nuggets. That Jokic is kind of, whenever Jokic and Aaron Gordon kind of put their head down and want to get to the paint on Chet here, they kind of can with no resistance there. And that's definitely a liability that's coming up in both their games that we haven't seen, or we didn't really think of it till now, at least in the playoffs. So, I mean, thank God, at least the Thunder have Hartenstein, and Jarrett Allen should be that, that defensive option that the Cavs have, but it just hasn't looked the same, really. It just hasn't looked the same, and you could really put that to the Pacers being just the better team this series, for real. And like I said earlier, they have really just kind of outplayed the Cavs in every aspect of the game. I mean, they're outside of maybe their star players performing, like Tyrese Halliburton. If you combine Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner together, they're not really touching what Donovan Mitchell has been doing for the Cavs this series in terms of like impact for their teams. Because Donovan Mitchell, I mean, he's by far been the best player in this series. However, I mean, the Pacers have been getting contributions from everywhere. And if you look at every game this series, one of their key role players has been the team high scorer for almost each individual game. Nembhard, game 1, 23, team high scorer. Nesmith, game 2, he was a co-team high scorer with Miles Turner there that game. And they won. Mathurin was a team high scorer, I believe, with 20 points in game 3. And then this game, I mean, unfortunately, all just kind of came down for the Cavs because even without Mathurin, which he got ejected for some BS reason, which I'll talk about later. Even without Mathurin in that lineup, you had people like Obi Toppin coming in and dropping 20 points on great efficiency on 9 of 14. And then you finally actually had your stars put up pretty good games that game with Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam both putting up 20. So, I mean, the Pacers have just been getting contributions from everywhere, which has kind of been the way they've been winning these playoff series for the last couple years, right? I mean, I think we underestimated the impact of their depth compared to the quote unquote deeper teams in the league, like OKC, which we're seeing now. They really have a true 10-man rotation in the playoffs, which is, I mean, hey, that's playoff winning basketball right there in terms of keeping them fresh. The Cavs, I mean, they supposedly had this great depth coming into the series of players who can contribute here and there, but DeAndre Hunter hasn't really had the greatest series. I mean, of course, also injured, right? So we can't, I mean, how much blame do you want to put on him? Like I mentioned earlier, the Cavs, Max Strus is really kind of your second most consistent option. And that's a problem. And that is a problem here. So we're going to need Garland and them to kind of step it up if they're going to even have a chance at a game 7 here. Especially if the Pacers role players come back and they keep playing the way they are. Like, they may not even have to be the top consistent scorers every night, but if you still have 3 or 4 other people with 10 plus points, 10, 20 plus points, like coming off that aren't Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, or Pascal Siakam, I mean, this series is probably going to be wraps here because, I mean, think about it. Tyrese really hasn't had, he had that great game too, but he hasn't really had a dominating series. Like, we feel the impact and he has key moments to start runs, but he hasn't, you don't really feel that impact that he should have, which is, a testament to how great the Pacers are actually built. And I think that's a great compliment, but he's making the plays whenever he needs to. And that's where Tyrese, they call him the most overrated player coming into this, and I think everyone is going to be eating the words, especially his NBA peers that voted him for that, because he's proven them time and time again that he's probably a top 5 clutch shooter right now. Because if you're gonna, ball in fourth quarter, you need someone to go get you a bucket. Tyrese is gonna do that. He did that in the Bucks series, and he also did that, and he's also doing that in this series. A couple game winners in both of those. So, I mean, Tyrese, just keep doing your thing. And I mean, Pascal Siakam, man, like, he's overall, I mean, impact wise, his series has kind of been below average, especially compared to what we just seen him do to the Bucks last series, man. Like, I mean, granted, they probably have better defensive options maybe to guard Pascal. The Cavs do, but I mean, even regardless of his impact on the game, like, his best game was this game 4 in which they blew out the Cavs. But they haven't even really needed him to be that Pascal from last series to this series. And that's what's scary because, I mean, even with a healthy Mobley, a healthy Garland, and a healthy Hunter, with how the Pacers have played overall as a team, this still might be going to 7 even if they're fully healthy, and the Pacers might still be winning that series. Which, coming in, I'm a Pacers, I've watched a couple of games. The Pacers are one of those teams that I'll catch on an off night where I'm just up anyways, and I'll look at a couple of their highlights or a couple of their games and watch them live and everything coming into the playoffs. But the Pacers, I don't think anyone probably would have picked the Pacers to get back here in the Eastern Conference Finals again. And I think this year they might be a better team than they were last year because everyone is playing with confidence. They're the only team that has like 5, their whole starting 5 is not scared to go get a bucket. Anyone can go get a bucket, and they know what the hierarchy is in terms of the clutch shooters. They know that they want Tyrese to have the ball in those type of moments, and they want Tyrese to have the ball to kind of spur these runs. But you have these role players that are able to maintain them and even have crazy games like last game where they really kind of never slow down. And so for, I mean, the Cavs, it's looking very, very dangerous here because, again, they didn't even have Mathurin last game, and the role players far outperformed them. I mean, granted, and Mathurin got ejected pretty early on, so that was a pretty what was going to be seen as a pretty impactful ejection to maybe jumpstart the Cavs offense. But as we saw in game 4, that wasn't the case at all. That wasn't the case at all. As soon as Donovan Mitchell got subbed out the game, I believe in the second, it was kind of wraps in terms of their offense. Darius Garland kind of put up a couple points, a couple of throwaway gimme points later on in the second half, whenever they were down by 40, I believe, or 41. And I mean, that's just kind of going to be the problem that the Cavs run into here. for this series. So I actually know a couple more things here before I finish this video off. The Mathurin versus Hunter rivalry, Benedict Mathurin versus DeAndre Hunter here, that's not a rivalry I kind of expected to spur from this series. And granted, I know, like, especially with DeAndre being the newer player to there, I don't know if they have any previous history to this, but I mean, every game they've just been back and forth at each other. And, you know, these playoffs have been extremely physical. So I get why, you know, tensions might be running a little bit high between these two, especially with, you know, the Pacers coming in with this underdog mindset. But that ejection was crazy, to straight up just eject Mathurin for that play. Just a little context for that, Mathurin winds up taking a little cheap shot into the sternum of DeAndre Hunter during the dead ball, during the, I believe they were inbounding the ball in from their half court. And Mathurin just decides to get a little cheap lick on, nothing too hard, at least from the camera, on DeAndre Hunter here. But then the way that DeAndre responds is completely, I mean, that's definitely a flagrant 2, right? Like, yeah, I mean, he literally points at him with his finger and says, "Hey, don't do that shit again," and then proceeds to shove his ass like he's a little, like he's Peter Dinklage out there, bro. And that was great acting skills by Benedict Mathurin, because it made it look way worse than what it was. But I mean, come on, bro. Like, flagrant 2 is with intent, right? He pointed at him, decides to shove him off his feet, and somehow DeAndre Hunter only got a tech for that this game, but Benedict Mathurin got a flagrant. I mean, you know, maybe the refs hear the initiations mainly coming from, or like, you know, the trash talk mainly coming from Mathurin during this series, so they might know a little bit more than what we do as fans. But yeah, I think for me personally, that should have been a double ejection for both of them. But hey, I mean, it didn't really matter in the long run, in our grand scheme of things, because they still wind up blowing them out by 40 plus, and they really didn't even need Mathurin, even though he was just their, like I said earlier, team high scorer in game 3, even though they lost. But still, that's just another option that they will have available. I don't know if he's going to be suspended in game 5 or not, but that's just another option that the Pacers will have available to kind of keep this run going against the Cavs, or this upset going against the Cavs, honestly. But last but not least here, let's see. Last but not least here, what am I looking for to kind of see in these future games that will possibly play a deciding factor into what might be able to change this series? As I mentioned earlier, if Mobley or Darius Garland can actually be a consistent option to shoulder this offensive load from Donovan Mitchell, then they will have a chance to take it to 7. A chance, a very small chance, but a higher chance than what they have right now. Because as of right now, I'm probably only gonna give them like a 5 to 10% chance to make it to the game 7. But I mean, if Mobley or Garland can step up and actually do what they need to do, regardless of this injury that they're going through, or maybe they get healthier the more they play, then I would probably bump that chance up to game 7, probably to like around 20-30%. Because Donovan Mitchell, I mean, we have to, you know, we have to see what his injury is going to be like. Was it actually a serious injury? I think they called it an ankle injury when they decided to sub him out. But they're already down 41. So was it actually a serious injury, or was it just because you're already getting blown out? He's been playing 40 plus minutes every game because he has to. And if it is a serious injury, then yeah, then this series not making it past 6 at most. But if he's able to come back healthy, or at least a little bit healthy and a little bit rested, just because of what Mobley and Garland can do trying to shoulder that load, then I'll give him a little bit higher of a chance. But as of right now, this is giving me Celtics Cavs series semis last year, in which, I mean, Donovan Mitchell kind of had to give his all during round 1 to even get them past the Magic, and that overall kind of fatigued him for that Celtics series, in which he still had great first 3 games. But as we saw, he got hurt last year for games 4 and 5. So just be due to that fatigue of him having to carry the Cavs still. So even if they do win this series, the Cavs definitely aren't going to beat the Celtics, who I still kind of have predicted to take the Knicks to 7 and win, unfortunately. It pains me to say that as a Lakers fan, but yeah, I just don't think that they'll be able to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals here. It's very unfortunate that the basketball gods were not with the Cavs this year, but hey, that is sports though. That is, I mean, that's supposed to be where their depth was supposed to come in, so that is sports. And hey, I mean, that is pretty much everything I can think of off the top of my head. So again, I do believe that the Pacers are probably gonna win this in 5 or 6 now. Crazy. I wouldn't have even predicted that at the beginning of the series, or even after the first 2 games. To be honest, I had a little bit more confidence in the Cavs, depending on. But these injuries, man, these injuries for the Cavs are unfortunately going to give the Pacers this series win. I don't see the Cavs having enough firepower to come back down 3-1. So, Eastern Conference Finals. Hey, back at it again, Pacers. Let's see what you can do. If I'll be looking forward, to see what that finals, Eastern Conference Finals is going to look like here. I'm going to also drop a video on the Nuggets versus Thunder series here. To me personally, that's been probably my favorite out of these semis so far. Just a lot of back and forth. So that video will probably drop either tonight or tomorrow. Just a recap on that. And we'll do the rest of these games, the Warriors, T-Wolves, and the Celtics, Knicks. That will drop either tomorrow or Wednesday. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. If y'all did, I would appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe. If not, hey, it's all good. We're all good. Just continue to be peaceful, be happy, and I hope y'all have a good day.